Now, Lowcountry Forever, a public affairs presentation of the Charleston Radio Group.
February is Heart Month, and that's why the Lowcountry American Heart Association always hosts their big annual Lowcountry Heart Walk in this month, and that event is coming up on Saturday, February 26th. It is just a few days away. I'm Brian Cleary. Today on Lowcountry Forever, we're talking about heart health, and our guest is Kelly Nix. Kelly, you have a personal connection to heart disease.
Absolutely. My youngest daughter, Hadley, is my why. She is the reason why the Heart Walk and the American Heart Association is so near and dear to our hearts. Hadley is one of the 1 in 100 children who are born each year with a congenital heart defect. And we were lucky enough that we actually found her heart defect during our 20-week ultrasound. And so thankfully, the gift of that screening was that we were aware of what we were dealing with. She had a critical congenital heart defect. So the gift of that screening was that it gave us time to really research and find out the best course of action for Hadley.
When people think of heart disease, I think automatically folks think, somebody older. They don't think of kids, but the statistics with children is really something that would astonish people if they really knew the numbers.
It truly is amazing. It's definitely have had folks in my family, immediate family, who have high blood pressure or have suffered from other heart disease or heart attacks, stroke even. But to really have our eyes open to Hadley's condition and what other children are facing, it really was an eye-opening experience. And I can't say enough how amazing the Little Hearts community is. As soon as we found out and reached out to others, we were quickly and swiftly provided with a full network of other families who had faced similar situations. And they really rallied around us and got us in touch with the best and brightest in their fields to help provide such a wonderful opportunity for Hadley to have a healthy life moving forward.
If you don't mind, take us back to that moment, because pregnancy's going fine. You're 20 weeks, you're just a normal checkup, and you're tossed a really big curveball. How did you react to that?
Absolutely. So I think I mentioned before, she's our youngest child. She has twin sisters who were 3.5 at the time. Went in for our ultrasound the first time, and Hadley wasn't cooperating, so it was hard to get a full view of her heart. So they had me come back in 2 weeks just to get a view of her heart. And I even told my husband, don't worry about it. This is going to be a quick visit, So I happened to be by myself when it was first found. But like I said, just can't thank that ultrasound tech enough for being so diligent and persistent with her findings. And that day changed our lives forever, and Hadley's too. But what a gift it was. And from there, I'll never forget the day that doctor wrote down her diagnosis, what they thought it likely was. He said, I'm going to write this down for you, because I was by myself. Like, can you write it down? I got to drive myself home. So I just had to keep myself calm and collected. And he said, I will, but I don't want you to go home and Google this. And, we live in that Google culture, that WebMD culture. And you can't tell that to a new mom. So, of course,
I was just going to say, and I don't mean to jump in here, but were you strong enough? Were you able to go no Google, or did you not follow that advice exactly?
Oh, no, we have too much information at our fingertips these days, so that was hard. But I did try to wait till I got home to do it, until we had that support system to kind of really face it.
And here's where I think people don't understand some of what the American Heart Association does, because you're just coming up on halfway in your pregnancy. So you were actually, there's some programs and things in place to help you before Hadley is even born.
Absolutely. And I think their website was one of the first websites that I really dove into to really understand what her diagnosis was and what options there were for treatment, where to seek those options. We are so lucky to have MUSC in our back neighborhood, the Sean Jenkins Children's Hospital, and their well-renowned heart program here. We actually did end up, Hadley was born, we made the trip up to Boston, and she was born in Boston, and she had her first surgery at Boston Children's Hospital there. Just given her diagnosis and what they were willing and able to do for her there was just a little bit different. But gratefully, thankfully, that surgery went very well. She was just 4 days old when she had her first surgery. And it just always amazes me what they can do. Like, when you think about it, a baby, a newborn baby, their heart is about the size of a walnut. And you think about a surgeon being able to be so precise and just what they're miracle workers. So I always say she's our daily reminder of modern science and, the power of prayer and faith.
February is Heart Month, and we're talking with Kelly Nix today on Lowcountry Forever. I'm Brian Cleary. The American Heart Association's annual Lowcountry Heart Walk is coming up on February 26th. 40,000 children each year are born with congenital heart disease, congenital heart defects, and that's what we're talking about because Hadley was in that situation, had surgery, but you found comfort in a group of people, parents and things who have gone through a similar thing, and that support had to be so critical to you.
It was amazing. It truly was. The minute we started to open up to friends and family about what we were facing, they quickly said, "Oh, you've got to meet this family and you need to meet this family." And it's amazing. Facebook's great for that. Connected us with fellow parents here in the Lowcountry who have children with similar diagnosis and experiences, and they were truly amazing. And another great thing that the Heart Association does is they have a Little Hearts event each year. And it's something that heart families and the children, and they even invite siblings, which I think is important to recognize as well. It's not just the child who is facing the illness, it's the whole family and siblings. It takes a lot on them too to be faced in those situations. So I really appreciate that through the Little Hearts program, the whole family gets to participate and just have fun on a day when they might get to interact with the physicians and care teams that take care of them on the hospital setting, and a more fun, exciting, interactive event. And same goes for the Heart Walk. We see each other as a time to just celebrate and be together, and we're just so thankful for that.
Well, it has to be tough on the entire family. Like you said, you have twins. Now you're flying to Boston, or even when you're at MUSC, you're involved. It's not like one child is more important than the other, but when you're going through something like that, obviously you're focused on the child who needs that care at that point. Now, how did Hadley come along after that first surgery in Boston?
So she did better than we could have ever hoped or imagined. We were prepared to maybe be there month, 2 months. She was able to come home in less than a month. So you're just constantly trying to meet different levels of, recovery. Sure. And so every time a wire is removed or a tube, it's a big celebration. So I kind of think of Pinocchio, like there are no strings on me. Like, you want to get that child, to be free again. That's all you ever hope for, is that they're free of anything and everything that might keep them from having the full life that you've dreamed of for this child. So she did very well. That first week when she was intubated, when I wasn't able to hold her for a whole week, that was just, I think about that a lot. She's doing so well now. She just turned 5. Wow. But when heart babies turn 5, they typically have like a CT scan. So she did have to have an IV for that. And I just remember just stroking her temple. And it's just amazing the power of touch and the memories that brings. And it just brought me right back to bedside there when she was in the ICU, just stroking her temple. All you want to do is hold that child. But she and I, we have a special bond in that sense. I think she remembered that special touch too. So it calmed both of us, and it was just a very special memory to be able to calm a child you might not be able to just hold.
February is Heart Month, and we're talking heart health today on Lowcountry Forever. I'm Brian Cleary. Kelly Nix joins us. The American Heart Association Lowcountry Heart Walk is coming up at the end of the month. Now, Kelly, did you have any experience with the Heart Association prior to what happened with Hadley?
As a matter of fact, we did. My mother-in-law she experienced a heart attack pretty early in life. She was assistant principal, an active woman, and women often experience different symptoms of a heart attack. And she did have some of those odd symptoms, but realized something really wasn't right. Actually drove herself to the hospital. Oh. They were able to confirm that what she was experiencing was in fact a heart attack. And she had to completely revamp her, her heart health. Like I said, she was healthy before. She just happens to have heart disease that was hereditary, not anything that she was necessarily doing. She was always a non-smoker, ate fairly healthy, but she really has taken on a heart healthy lifestyle, low sodium, really watches what she eats, tries to be as active as possible. So we were very involved with the Heart Association in her honor for several years. And so it's just been a big part of our family since then.
And there was a special little thing that happened with Hadley at the Heart Walk in terms of her being named a queen.
Yeah, I think it's every little girl's dream to be royalty. So she was super excited to be named the Little Hearts Queen last year during 2021. It looked a little different for us. So I think we were all experiencing life in a different way during the pandemic. So it was a virtual walk. So typically those kids get their moment in the spotlight on the stage and that sort of thing. But we did it all virtually, and she did take great pride in being that Little Hearts Queen. And so she's very excited for this year too, to come back as the Little Hearts Queen and maybe, have that little recognition that she's so proud of and to represent those kiddos.
And the Lowcountry Heart Walk, for someone who hasn't been there, is really an amazing event because it's really so much of the community coming together. It's just fun, but also for a great purpose to raise money for the American Heart Association.
It's very low key, lots of energy. There's usually a really fun time that everyone comes together to stretch, warm up, announce all the amazing work that everyone's done to raise funds for life-saving research. I think I definitely want to reiterate that so much of what the Heart Association has done in terms of research has really taken us to help children like Hadley and adults to have longer, healthier lives. Like Hadley's diagnosis, her life would have been totally different, say 20 years ago, 15 years ago. So I just have to thank the American Heart Association for their commitment to research and advancement in heart health, and what they're doing for those resources is phenomenal.
Now, as we come up on the February 26th event, is there a Team Hadley? Do you guys have a team going? And can we get people maybe to support and join?
Yeah, we'd love for them to do so. So I am the public relations coordinator for Rev Federal Credit Union. So I'm always excited that through our Up the Good initiatives and our community impact and involvement, we have a team here at Rev, and I lead our HQ Heart and Souls, and my team is Hearts for Hadley. So you can find us for Hearts to Hadley, and she's certainly why I walk, and we'd love for everybody to just come out and join us. You can walk here, there, anywhere. If you'd like to join us that day out at North Charleston Riverfront Park, it'd be fabulous. Hopefully we have some beautiful weather like we did this weekend, and we can all get out. It's not a race. It's a walk.
Right.
Let's just be healthy together and have a good time.
And for you personally, it's got to be good to work for a company like Rev, who is so involved in the community and allows that kind of support to happen in the workplace.
Absolutely. It's one of my greatest pleasures of being able to work here is our community involvement, encouragement to get plugged in, find your passion, what your heart is drawn towards, and then we can encourage others to participate as well. So we have a great team going here.
So when we come out on the walk on February 26th, again, North Charleston Riverfront Park, will Hadley be wearing a crown, perhaps? I mean, she is a queen.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't think there's any question about it. It's her turn, for sure.
And one more time so people can go on the website and click and donate for your team. Specifically, your team name is?
Our team name is the Rev HQ Heart and Souls, under Rev Federal Credit Union. And
you'll have I would assume you'll have your entire family out there supporting the American Heart Association.
Oh, absolutely. Friends, family, Hearts for Hadley rolls pretty deep. So the whole crowd will be there.
And you should be there as well. We've got all the information on the Lowcountry Heart Walk on every station's website. Just go to the website, click on events, and you'll find the information for the February 26th Lowcountry Heart Walk with the American Heart Association. Kelly Nix is our guest today on Lowcountry Forever.
The Charleston Radio Group is the Lowcountry. Every week, we highlight local organizations and events that are helping to make a difference here where we live. If you have a group, event, or an idea to feature on Lowcountry Forever, let us know. Visit lowcountryforever.com and click on our podcast link for contact information. Now, Lowcountry Forever continues.
If you're a music lover, perhaps you love the Symphony. There may be a symphony orchestra out there that you haven't heard of, but one that you should experience. It's the North Charleston POPS. I'm Brian Cleary talking music today on Lowcountry Forever. We're joined by Tacy Edwards. Tacy is the director of the North Charleston POPS. Thanks so much for taking your time to be with us today on Lowcountry Forever, Tacy.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Brian, and I love talking about the North Charleston POPS.
Well, you are the co-founder of the POPS. You serve as their executive director. Give us a little history. How was it that the North Charleston POPS came together?
It's an interesting story. I had been booking the extra musicians that Broadway shows need when they go to each city for the Coliseum and Performing Arts Center. And we were doing a show, Mary Poppins, in which they wanted to create a brand new show. And so they built their sets and they did all of their rehearsals with new dancers and singers right here at the Performing Arts Center. And so we were together for 9 days, 8 hours a day. And then we did Wicked after that. And I thought, isn't this fun to actually play pops music? So the city of North Charleston was having its 40th anniversary, and the mayor asked if I would hire the musicians to back up Earth, Wind, and Fire, because they were going to do that as a gift to the city in the Coliseum. So I did, and he asked me to come to a press conference. And when he came in the door, I said, Mayor Summy, how would you like to have your own orchestra right here in North Charleston? And he said, that's music to my ears. 3 minutes later, he gets up to speak to the press, and he said, we have a new orchestra in North Charleston, and it's called the North Charleston POPS, and they're going to make their debut in the Coliseum with Earth, Wind, and Fire. So it was a really wonderful beginning. But I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to come up with a season and artists and a conductor in a month before this event. And then the mayor had another reception, just introduced the POPs to the public too. So it's been a wonderful beginning, and it's been a great journey in the last 10 years. We do concerts at the North Charleston Performing Arts Center, and we do specialize in pops music only. And I kind of did it also as a tribute to my dad, because he was a rhythm guitar player in the big band era. He always said to me, why do orchestras play such boring music? Why don't they do music that people enjoy? And so that's what we do. And if somebody doesn't like a song, 3 minutes later, it's going to be over and they can hear something else they might like. So we always give our audience something to enjoy and whistle or sing as they leave and go home.
Man, that is a great story, although no pressure. 3 minutes and the mayor says you're going to do it, so you took on the task very well. I don't want to get sidetracked, but that's so fascinating because I don't think people would realize that Wicked comes in, you need musicians, and they're hired locally. It's not like you can put an ad in the newspaper or something and say, hey, I need a trombone player. What's the process for you in finding musicians in a situation like that?
Well, the Coliseum, they sign a contract with the Broadway shows or a musician like Elton John or Moody Blues. And in the rider, it says that they need X number of musicians, and these are what they are. And these are when the rehearsals are. Well, then the Coliseum picks a local contractor to provide those musicians. And so I had been doing that for about 10 years for the Coliseum. And they're really happy with the musicians I hired. People in the audience said they thought the musicians were touring with the show. So it's been a fun process.
That's what I would assume, that everybody just thinks, oh, well, Earth, Wind, and Fire has an orchestra with them. They played in Charlotte last night, and they're in Charleston tonight, and now they're going to Savannah, and it's all the same people. That's fascinating. It's got to be a challenge for you because obviously you got to find top quality musicians.
Absolutely. You have to be able to pretty much sight read music, because you get usually one rehearsal. You get your music ahead of time, about 2 weeks ahead of time. And then you have one rehearsal, and then you have a sound check, and then you do the show. You have to have nerves of steel and confidence, and you have to know your music because they do expect really high quality work.
Well, I guess that would have to reflect back then on the quality of the people and the music that you bring to the Performing Arts Center with North Charleston POPS. I think in some ways people think, oh, that must be kind of like the high school band, and you've got the alumni band, and they just come in every once in a while. But the folks who are in the North Charleston POPS, these are serious, well-trained musicians.
That's correct. They're all professional musicians, studied music their whole life, played music their whole life. People assume that musicians do music on the side. We actually make a living playing music. And sometimes we have to piece together that living. Like one night we may play a Broadway show, the next night we're playing in a church, the next night we're playing in an orchestra in another town, or we're playing a wedding. But all those different combinations of work give us income. And it's a wonderful life because we are playing an instrument and it's so enjoyable. And I find in this business, we meet so many wonderful people. The artists that we work with are so friendly. Like when we did Earth, Wind, and Fire, they actually hung out backstage with the musicians.
Wow.
And talked to us. The artists that are friendly to musicians have a long career. The ones that are kind of shy and don't want to greet the audience and that sort of thing, their careers are quite short. So it does make a difference whether or not they're outgoing.
Today on Lowcountry Forever, we're talking with Tacy Edwards. She's the co-founder of the North Charleston POPS. She is the organization's executive director. We've got North Charleston POPS that performs in the PAC, but there's another segment that people may not be aware of that North Charleston POPS brings to us, and that is Kidz POPS. Tacy, can you explain what Kidz POPS is all about?
We decided that we wanted to be an orchestra that actually gives back to the community. North Charleston and even the Lowcountry has a lot of Title I schools, the elementary schools. As a musician, we know that music can develop the brain so that you do great academically, but it also gives you all kinds of time management skills, discipline, teamwork. And so because South Carolina doesn't do a good job of funding the arts, we thought that we should supplement that and help these kids in Title I schools change the course of their lives and have a chance to be successful adults. So what we did is we found right now 3 principals that understand that music helps academics. So they allow us to come into the school. We give private lessons. We provide the instruments for the children because they can't afford to buy an instrument. And then we provide ensembles to play in, and that we feature them once a year on the stage with the North Charleston POPS. So they sit in the orchestra, and it's so exciting for them and for their parents. And they get to meet the guest artists if there happens to be one on that show. So those are memories that those children have, and it's motivation to really stick with the instrument and become better and better. We are also lucky to have sponsors in the area that do the instrument donation program that we need to get these instruments, because they do cost money, and everybody has some kind of instrument in their home, in the attic or in the closet, and it's better to put it out there for a child to use than just let it collect dust. We have different locations around town where we receive instruments for these children.
So if there's someone listening who does have an instrument, should they go to the website to find out? What's the next step for them to get that instrument in your hand?
They can go to the website. It gives the different drop-off locations. We also receive it at the Coliseum. So they go to the Coliseum office or box office. They will take that instrument. We do not take pianos because it costs too much to move, and we have nowhere to store them until we can get them into somebody's hands.
The North Charleston POPS is a nonprofit organization, a 501(c)(3). You're giving back to the community. What is it that someone listening could provide outside of obviously an instrument if they had something? But what are your needs? What is it that someone can step up and help you with?
Thank you for asking that. It costs money to do this because we have to pay our teachers because we don't expect them to do what their vocation is for free. And we have to buy music, and sometimes we have to supplement an instrument. Like if a violin's donated, it may need a bow or rosin or just some work. So if they could just donate money, that would be great. It's easy to do that on our website. There's a donate tab, or they can just send a check to the North Charleston Coliseum, which is where our office is located, and it just make it out to the North Charleston POPS.
And I have to think that if people would buy some tickets to the next couple of performances, that would be a good thing, or become a subscription member as well.
That is a great thing. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. We have 3 more concerts coming up this season. On March 19th, we're doing a Lawrence Welk type of show, so it'll be a lot of variety and a lot of unusual things that you won't see. And then in April, we have another concert at the end of the month, and that will be featuring the Roaring Twenties. So we'll have Gracie and Lacey performing with us. Andrina Dunning is going to be singing. We have a percussion solo. And so it'll be all music from the Roaring Twenties. And then we end the season on May 28th with a wonderful pianist. His name is Thomas Pandolfi, and he's going to be playing a concerto recently written called the Hollywood Concerto, and it has themes from all these Hollywood movies. And he's doing the James Bond Concerto, which has the themes from about 20 James Bond movies.
And you talk about music, the variety of the North Charleston POPS. I think if you looked at the entire program that you had, because the first show you had in the 21-22 season was Hotel California, where you did a medley and when you did Eagles music. So you guys are pretty hip as well.
That's right. And then we just did a Carpenter show. So yes, we try to do a lot of variety in the season so that we give a different genre of music to different audiences. So you're not always going to hear like jazz. You're not going to always hear movie music. You might hear John Williams. We mix it up, and each show has a theme. So audiences can pick or choose, but our subscription and ticket prices are intentionally low. Mayor Summey wanted us to keep the tickets price low so people could afford to come. So they start at $19, and the highest ticket price is $39. And the subscriptions reflect that. But if you subscribe, you get free parking.
Nice.
So that's big perk. We prorated our subscription so you can still get the last 3 concerts as a subscriber and get that free parking. You just go to the Coliseum box office, call them up, or go to Ticketmaster.com.
And, of course, the show's at the North Charleston Performing Arts Center. Not a bad seat in the house there. The sound is really good. We're talking with the executive director and the co-founder of North Charleston POPS. Tacy Edwards is our guest on Lowcountry Forever. If I can circle back around a second, let's talk a little bit more on Kidz POPS. Now, you're in the 3 Title I schools. If there's a parent who has a child in one of those schools, can they have their son or daughter get involved in Kidz POPS still?
Yes, they can. If you go to our website, northcharlestonpops.com, there's a tab that says Pops Kids, and there's a sign-up form for that. And also, we have a camp in the summer. It's a week-long camp in July, from July 11th through the 15th. And it's going to be held at Hersey Elementary School near Park Circle. We even have children from out of state where are visiting their grandparents, and the grandparents sign them up for the music camp.
So that particular camp would be open as well to kids from all over the Lowcountry.
That's correct.
And so let me dig into your past a little bit, because when you talked about getting the musicians and things together for shows, you yourself have participated in them. Can you tell me maybe what was the favorite group that you had, or what show was it that you were a part of that really has a big memory that you're most proud of, perhaps? Well,
actually, there are several. That's a good question. We did a show, Cirque de la Symphony, where we had a Cirque acrobatic type of program. That was very popular. People were wondering, like, how are they going to do that with an orchestra? We did that, and that was a huge success. Our most popular and biggest selling concerts have always been the John Williams concerts, Star Wars, that kind of thing. And we always have lobby entertainment. So we might have reenactors with the Star Wars costumes. We did a John Denver show that was very popular. People like that. Hotel California. People love that. And I was surprised. I thought maybe because it was a generation after mine and I didn't know the music. I even enjoyed it. The artists are so fantastic and so wonderful to work with. We do have a culture in the North Charleston POPS that people have to love playing POPs music, have a good time, be respectful of each other. And that translates to the audience. We have a wonderful music director, Nick Palmer, who is really great at connecting with the audience and making them feel welcome, to the point where somebody wrote me and said, when we come to a concert, it's like we're in somebody's living room having a great time. And so that's the ambience that we create at our concerts. It's not stuffy. You don't have to dress up to come. You just come and have a great time.
That is really the ultimate compliment. That's great. Now, you as well play for the Charleston Symphony Orchestra. Could you tell us the difference between the Charleston Symphony Orchestra and North Charleston POPS?
The Charleston Symphony has been around a long time, has a really wonderful core of musicians. They play masterworks concerts, which are classical, like Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, Schoenberg. It could be any kind of variety of classical music. But they also have a pop series conducted by Yuri Becker, and that is a nice series too. So I think the biggest difference is that we specialize in pops. We do not do the classical music. We're located kind of in the center of the Lowcountry at the North Charleston Performing Arts Center. Our ticket prices are much lower. But when you go to either one, you're going to get a great experience.
So 3 shows are remaining in this season. Then you'll kind of take the summer off, regroup, and come back for a new season. But the next show coming up, Lawrence Welk. So if somebody wants to come out to the Performing Arts Center, and hopefully they will, the best way for them to get tickets is how?
It would be to call the Coliseum box office or email the Coliseum box office at tickets@northcharlestoncoliseumpak.com, or go online and get them through ticketmaster.com. I have to warn people, though, there are a lot of hacker ticket sellers out there online. So make sure it says ticketmaster.com and nothing else.
And for a parent listening whose son or daughter, regardless of where they are, you touched on it, but the importance of music and music instruction for children. The arts really, sometimes it's the first thing cut in budgets. I know that's got to frustrate a person like yourself, but it really is important for kids to get that musical training if they can.
You're correct. And we are not trying to create musicians. We're trying to create children who have the skills to be able to do anything they want in life, and the confidence in being able to do that, and pride in what they've achieved. It's amazing too, the transformation we even see in parents when they see their children getting so much better academically, but also behavior wise. One mother said, my son was autistic and he just couldn't focus, but when you put a violin in his hand, he just did amazing. It's been wonderful to get all this feedback from various sources. So that's showing that it's working.
She is Tacy Edwards, the founder and executive director of North Charleston POPS, our guest on Lowcountry Forever.
Thanks for listening to Lowcountry Forever. If you missed any of this week's show, there's a complete recording under the podcast link at lowcountryforever.com. Lowcountry Forever is a public affairs presentation of the Charleston Radio Group.